Hello there. I'm Maple Dungeons, and today I'm going to be going over some news, some changes made in the previous patch, the patch that was put out yesterday. I'm just going to go over the changes that affect SPVP, and the first one of those is the paid tournaments now giving better rewards. All paid tournaments now have straight up better rewards if you get 4th or higher place, so that should encourage more people to be playing them. I know the queue times were getting quite long, so hopefully those queue times will improve as more teams will get in there to win gems as well as cosmetic items. Also, now, if you get, I think, 4th or higher place in a tournament, individual players have a random chance to win a certain amount of gems. So you can win 40, you can win 100, you can win 1,000 at max. You probably have a really small chance of winning at 1,000. But it's a kind of lottery thing that's kind of cool that they put in. Personally, I would love to be doing some paid tournaments, but I don't really have a solid team to run within paids, so I'm kind of stuck with free right now. I'm mainly running free tournaments right now. I'm mainly just pugging it up in them or joining some random team that I can find. Oh well, there's some other cool stuff for dirty casuals like me to do in this new patch as well. One interesting tidbit is that in tournaments now, respawn timers will be individual instead of in waves. I guess the devs didn't really like people having as part of the metagame actually timing when to give people deaths in order to get people full res timers. And I don't blame the devs for that kind of thinking because that actually leads to people playing your game less and getting less fun. That's a mechanic that might add some complication to the metagame, but it's not a mechanic that gives any kind of fun because people just are not playing your game when they're dead. So that's a little change, but it is cool. In other news, there's a complete new way to turn certain materials for the Mystic Forge into other materials that are used in the Mystic Forge. As I personally have not even touched the Mystic Forge, I don't really know how to explain this because I don't even know what these things really are. I just don't really care too much what my character looks like. I'll probably take a look at the Mystic Forge at some point, but for now you really should just check that out on your own. The most important thing out of everything for the more casual players is actually the new map that they've introduced in PvP. So far it's just in SPVP, the normal drop-in, and not in any kind of tournament as of yet, as they've said the map is still being tested and tweaked, and they just want players' input on the map. The map is the Temple of the Silent Storm. I'll probably do a full video on that, but for now I'll just say it's really nice that ArenaNet is working on adding new maps to SPVP, as I were afraid they might not. Overall, it's just a really good sign. PvP now has its own daily and monthly achievements. These happen daily by doing PvP, and they will reward you both tournament tokens and glory boosts. I really like this myself, as lately I've been getting on at some really weird times and not really had anyone on to play with, but I've still wanted to play some Guild Wars, and I just jumped into some pug matches. And I didn't win any tournaments, but I got kind of far and I did some PvP, and if that's going to give me a little status bar that will fill up and then give me a tournament token every day, then I'm pretty happy about that. There is a couple of minor changes to maps, notably a smaller hitbox on the Kylo trebuchets, as well as a lower number of sharks in the raid on Capricorn. Finally, in terms of PvP balance, down health will now be lower. This is apparently to balance the game in terms of the way of killing players and to encourage people to do damage instead of actually stomping enemies, which kind of goes against the original design philosophy when making SPVP. I really don't know if it's a good thing overall. I kind of liked having to consider stomps and not just pure damage. I think it added a kind of nice element to the game. But I know some people disagree, and I know when the game first came out, there was a huge movement that hated the downstate and actually wanted to get the downstate completely removed from PvP altogether. While Arena didn't listen to them exactly, they did make it so damage is a lot more important, I'm sure Stomps will still be done and still be a common way of killing people, don't get me wrong, but the current downstate health is actually 75% of what it used to be, and that is a significant change. There's also individual classes that haven't balanced and have been changed, nerf, buff, whatever. You check your own class to see what's happened to it. Some people are complaining, some people are happy, of course, and that is the nature of things. But for a final piece of news that isn't directly PvP related but will affect play in general, the game has officially adopted a wider FOV, or field of view if you don't know what that is. Now, this is just really nice because a larger field of view makes you be able to see more of the battlefield, it makes you be able to see more of what's going on around you, and you can't blame things on just not being able to see things that are behind you and such. It makes the game a lot nicer, a lot better to play, and even just the graphics and wandering around the world, it makes you be able to see more. So I'm really glad they're kind of embracing it. It would have been much nicer to have an FOV slider where you can actually choose your FOV, and I don't see the real problem with that, but this is an improvement, and I have to give ArenaNet credit for that. That's all the PvP news I have for this patch. Thank you so much for watching, guys. For more Guild Wars 2 content, as well as general gaming content, you can subscribe to the channel. I've been Maple Dungeons, and I'll see you next time.